Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Well World TV show. This is a space where I find change makers, people who are invested in helping me create a well world. And before I bring in today's guest, I want to share with you that through this time, this challenging time when we have been a little more shut in, I have been working furiously changing and making Well World TV a platform that is beneficial for anybody who really wants to up level and share their voice in a bigger way. So we are launching our YouTube training and channels. We are launching into the OTT space with your content, and you will get to work with me one-on-one as I help develop and educate you on how to share your brilliance in a bigger way using the format of video. So without further ado, let me bring in our guest today. Hi, Moira. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you, Debra?
I'm good. So this is Moira Hutchison, and she is Wellness with Moira, and she's a mindset cultivator, an energy healer, and a tarot consultant. And that's part of what I love about my job is I get to bring in amazing people who are doing great things in the world and share them with the audience that we've developed here. So welcome, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Thank you so much. And I love your mandate and what you've taken upon yourself to do, because this is so important. This is today, and the title of what we're going to talk about today is this getting unstuck so you can thrive. And we're going to talk about my letting go process. So that's the whole part of getting unstuck, is about letting go of the mindset pieces that are keeping us stuck. And Debra, you are a brilliant example of that, because, during this time, things are all so different.
So different.
So different, aren't they? Yesterday I did a live class. So one of the offerings I do, I'm a hypnotherapist, and I work with people with cancer. And so that's like one day a week, every week. That's what I did, was I went into a clinic and worked one-on-one and in groups. Well, I haven't been doing that for a couple of months now. So yesterday I started doing a online group program for a bunch of participants there. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that one of the participants said that yesterday was day one of her saying she was okay with the way life is now. And I thought that was really powerful, because that is about the getting unstuck idea. We all have that inner desire, that drive to thrive. I love that word, thrive, yes, by the way.
Thrive. Let's all thrive.
Yes. But when we get met with challenges, sometimes we can get stuck. We can get deer in the headlights type of stuck. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was saying to you, Debra, that's the energy I feel like you bring to this conversation, is that sometimes people can get so limited and say, this is how it's always been, like I just shared with you that I used to drive into the city 2 days a week, every week. I don't now, but I still do all of the same things I do. I'm just meeting virtually online. And so for me, it was actually a very easy pivot. For some people, I get that it's not so easy, but now I want to share with you.
Well, let me ask you a question first. So let's start with an overall sort of definition of what being stuck is, because I think, some people might have temporary, like maybe they don't feel well and they feel a little stuck, but we're talking about significant internal acknowledgement of what being stuck is, and then how to really begin the process of becoming unstuck. So what is your definition of what does being stuck mean?
Thank you. That was very well asked and very well articulated. To me, being stuck feels like I have no power to make a decision.
Okay.
I'm in a situation that's happening to me. And no matter what I think.
Victim, almost like a victim.
It can be a victim.
Things are outside of my control.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But also it can be like really limited thinking, in that you think that you're doing all the right things to gain traction, to achieve your goals, to line up with your, say, your life purpose, or do the things that you're called to do. But no matter what you do, they seem to take you further away from your sense of bliss or your sense of connecting with who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes this is a mindset piece that this is why I'm a mindset cultivator, is that we actually, I believe we all have to fire our minds, because oftentimes it's our mind that's created a situation of, oh my gosh, this is a terrible situation. Like, think about during these times, this pandemic time, how many times have you been hearing people say conspiracy theories?
Right.
To me, that does nothing else but keep you feeling stuck.
Right.
It's
Well,
like,
just to add some thoughts to that, I've literally had to ask some of my friends to stop texting and emailing and forwarding the horrible drama stories, because I am knowledgeable enough to know that this is a rough time, that there's an infectious disease out there that has the potential to impact me, but I don't want to mire myself or get stuck in reading and just building up a level of anxiety and tension in myself.
absolutely.
And I've had those moments. I'm sure all of us over, through this time have had good moments and low moments. But for the most part, it's really about acknowledging where we're at, but also focused on moving forward.
Absolutely. And so that's the piece. So right there, you're proving the point that you are not stuck.
I have moments, but there have been a few days I have not gotten out of bed.
So here's the thing, is that is the crucial part about, we all do hit those points. We do hit those, you might wake up in the morning and see a headline or see something on Facebook and think, oh my gosh, like this is, I remember when it first started thinking to myself, wow, I never thought that I would live through times like this.
Right.
But that's not going to make me stop and feel panicky about it or get too much in the fear-based thinking about it. And really, it is a choice, because what is really showing up in front of you? Another example of the conversation that I had yesterday was one of the participants was feeling guilty because all she could do, this is her, all she could do was stay at home and rest and take care of herself. And I am thinking, yes, you're doing your part.
Right.
Really.
That could be a good thing.
It's a great thing. And so this is the thing about, to answer your question about what being stuck is. Stuck to me is replaying old past patterns in your mind, not allowing yourself to just sit and say, so what is in front of me? And to your point too, I also have you go up and down the scale of emotions, that sometimes you do feel like, oh my gosh, this is a panicky situation. So now what can I do? And then what can I do? And this next moment, and this next moment, right? Did that explain what I meant?
Yeah, and I think it's just from personal experience, it's almost easier to identify stuckness in other people maybe than it is to identify it in yourself, because as you were talking, I can see people in my network or my life kind of moving through the motions and probably thinking and dreaming that there is a better way or a different way, but they just they're on like autopilot.
Yeah.
And so I can look at them and say, wow, they seem stuck, but maybe assessing myself isn't as easy. What are some of the things that a person can do to kind of almost upstart that personal sense of being stuck and move forward?
So now we're going to go into some of the steps of my letting go formula to answer that one, because the very first step of this journey is awareness. So the key piece is we have to sit in our stuck story. Like, to your point, absolutely, we can always see the solutions or the patterns or the habits that are not healthy in other people.
Right.
But then one day we have to wake up to the fact that, and this is where awareness comes in, if I can see it in you, it means I have it. So, and that applies to the good things and the bad things, right? So if I see somebody procrastinating or putting things off or getting frozen by fear, I have to pause for a moment and go, okay, the reason I recognize that is because there's something like that within me. And this is not to start shaming or labeling or criticizing yourself. This is the first step of helping you get unstuck, is just be aware. Where are you?
Mm.
Where are you? Where did you come from? Where would you like to be? And in doing that, oftentimes people do come up with criticisms and sometimes even shaming, shaming themselves because of the choices they made. So one of the things that I set myself as an authority for getting unstuck was that my actual story, and this is totally not what we're going to get into today, but my actual story was that at age 18, I was in a cult. And I joined a cult and I was in there for 2 years.
Mm.
That's why I know what it's like to be stuck.
Right.
Because you want to know what stuck feels like? Try something like that.
Join a cult. We're not going to put that website up later.
But you see, so this is what I'm saying, and that's why I said to you about shaming, like in that, and I know I've done stuff like that where I look at, okay, I'm aware that I'm right here and I created it. So this is the thing, is we need to take complete responsibility for where we are is created by us. You can't undo things until you get to that part. But then you might say, oh, but I didn't eat right, or I didn't speak right, or I didn't stand up for myself, or I didn't set my boundaries, or I didn't, right? There's so many things. That leads us to the next step, which is acceptance. Is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I did these things, I made those decisions, and I'm not labeling them right or wrong. I'm just saying this is what's going on.
There's something almost freeing, I would say, in that. So if you can, like you said, the first step is really to build some awareness and acknowledge, yes, there are places in my life where I'm not moving forward and I'm on autopilot.
Yeah.
But then having that ability to not hold judgment or be too harsh for where you're at in that moment.
Yes.
So to acknowledge, to take ownership that, yes, I have been stuck and I haven't moved forward, and maybe I'm not in the relationship that I should be, or maybe I'm not in my career exactly where I should be, but I do just want to accept where I'm at now and just know and trust that I can now take steps if I want to move forward and start to transition. So I love that sort of flow that you're building.
Yeah. And so to that point too, is that in the acceptance, and this one is absolutely crucial because we can't change anything that we can't accept. Can you feel that? It's like if you want to, let's just take body image, for instance. Let's say you want to,
because that one I struggle with all the time.
I think most
and
of
I
us
can't
do.
accept it. When I gain weight, I don't accept it. I have a hard time accepting it.
Right. And so right there, you see, if you have a hard time accepting that your weight is what it is, then you can potentially release some weight by shaming yourself, by punishing yourself, but it ain't going to stay.
Right.
Because you haven't accepted what was it that did that. It could have been related to an emotion. It could have been related to some stress. It could have been, a lot of people that I've worked with over the years, their weight issue is actually because they haven't been getting enough sleep. Pure and simple. This is so simple. But until we have that dialogue of accept this is where I am at. And I'm not saying you have to accept it and say, okay, this is it. I'm going to carry these extra pounds. No. If I accept it, then I can do something about it. But if I don't accept it, then I'm betraying my own self. And I'm saying that I can't lovingly take action, which is what the next step is. Once we become
That's my favorite step. I'm good at action.
Now, so during these times that we are doing things in a different fashion, action may not be that you can go and join a gym.
Right.
Still following this idea of the weight loss. But You could do workouts in front of your computer.
Mm-hmm.
You could sit down and write out a new meal plan. So this is the thing. So you can see how it moves so fluidly, right? That action can sometimes just be writing down all your goals and then saying, what small step can I do today?
Mm.
Can I do a couple of bicep curls? Can I do a few push-ups?
Yeah.
Can I just go for a walk outside my house, round the block or something? I'm very fortunate that I live in the country, so I get to go for a walk in the woods.
Yeah, that is good. Well, I like that because one of the things I noticed with myself, and we'll stay on the thread of, physical activity and weight and stuff. So when the world was normal, let's say, I would walk, I would do hot yoga, I would go do my functional training classes.
Mhm.
And so when the world shifted, I started to try to do these online workouts.
Mhm.
And unless I'm in a class and I can tell, like, other people can hold me accountable. I'm
Right.
not so good at holding myself accountable. So what I was able to do so that I wasn't too harsh on myself was just kind of lower the bar. So as
Good.
long as I was still taking some type of action towards having physical activity, then I felt like I was accomplished, because a lot of the bars for me lowered because I couldn't go out, I couldn't network, I couldn't be at events, I couldn't go to the gym.
Mhm.
So I kind of lowered that bar a little bit, but still felt like I was moving towards something. So, maybe I was walking 4 times a week for 4
Mhm.
miles versus going into functional training and killing it for 45 minutes.
Right. But do you see how by still maintaining a level of action, you still feel good about yourself? Whereas sometimes if we didn't do something like that and just said, well, I can't do anything, so I'm just going to sit on the couch because I can't go outside. So to your point, and just a wee piece of feedback for you, I
Mm.
would be careful about saying I've lowered the bar for myself.
Oh, okay.
You just changed it.
Okay.
That's good. That's just, you get to find out something new about yourself.
Bar.
Different bar. Yeah. Because I've been saying that a lot, is that during these times, and I know I've really felt it myself, is that things have slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, I still go and do my grocery shopping. I decided consciously not to have delivery because there's a lot of people in my surroundings that can't drive, that couldn't
Mm-hmm.
go out, and I heard that there was a 2-week waiting list for some people to get their deliveries, and I just thought, I can put mask on and gloves, but so a trip that used to take maybe half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, now takes over 2 hours.
Wow.
So just to, because it's lineups and then standing and waiting and standing and waiting. And so I don't go shopping every week anymore.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm bringing that up is that because we are slowed down, it is slowed down. So you get time to think. You get time to say, I might need a wee bit extra sleep. I can do. So for me, I actually am very self-motivated for physical activity, simply because I have arthritis in my hips, and my hips will actually really scream at me if I don't stay or maintain a level of activity. So I do a set of qigong every morning, which is brilliant for just getting some movement in my body, and then I do go for my walk in the woods every day. But so the thing is like I say, for that perspective, things haven't changed that much. But I love what you just shared, that how you were able to adapt, and I believe everybody has the capacity to do that, even if it's just walk around your apartment, loop around the different rooms, or take up some different types of yoga stretching poses, and you can Google it, and I'm sure there's lots of classes available, right?
How are your thoughts on, if we go back to the acceptance piece? So if somebody's just, they're just not finding themselves staying active, or they're not eating well, can they go back into that acceptance phase and just say, you know what? I'm just not, for whatever reason, I'm not able to go out and walk and do regular exercise and eat properly. So I just need to accept that I'm in this space for now.
Yeah.
And be a little kinder and gentler on themselves, as, even as active as I've stayed, I have my lower back has started to hurt. I've got like some little hip pains, and and it's just I'm trying to stay really conscious of being, kind and gentle to the situation. That it's definitely not supporting a lot of physical activity right now. So you have to almost be a superhero.
And I'm glad you circled back on that, because that's the thing about all of these steps that I'm sharing is they're fluid and you do need to keep coming back. So to your point, when we're at action and we know in our mind, action means going for my walks, doing my yoga. Oh, but I can't go out because there's no parks open, or I have to, people down the street, maybe there's COVID cases right around you. And so therefore you don't want to go anywhere near things like that. But yes, acceptance, and with the clients that I work with, acceptance is the biggest step, and it's the one that keeps coming back up, because we are our own worst enemies. We got that little critic going like, yeah, but you should be doing this, or you should be doing this, right? When we start hearing the shooting, I encourage people to just put your hands over your heart and listen. Maybe do some deep breathing. Maybe your physical activity is focus on your breath. And then maybe pose a question. How can I be kinder to myself in this? How can I be gentler? And see what comes up. When we open ourselves up with acceptance and really allow that inner voice to speak. I'm very much a believer. I do that a lot. I put my hand over my heart. I encourage people to be tactile with themselves. You can give yourself a hug. If you live on your own, give yourself a hug. We do need touch. And during these times of being isolated or away from people that we would normally maybe be able to, I'm used to being able to hug a lot of my clients. We can't. So actually a lot of them we'll sit on Zoom and do this.
Yes. I heard virtual happy hours are really popular.
I bet they are. But yes, to your point, and so even like what you just said about you've got low back issues and you can feel wee twinges in your hip, you can maybe be tactile with that. Like put your hands on your low back. Just allow your own loving touch to soften that area a wee bit. And even in that can be acceptance in itself. Then sometimes that will actually help get some insight into, oh, maybe you need a heating pad. Maybe you need to just change your position a little bit, or move, get up and do a wee stretch or something. And then that helps, right? So now you can still see that we've now got awareness, acceptance, and action are all doing this really awesome dance together, which takes you into step number 4. Step number 4 is adapt. So you can see how all of these created something new. Back to using what you shared, Debra, as an example, you were aware that things are different. You can't go out networking, you can't go to your gym, you can't do the fitness that you used to. You're aware of that. You accepted all that was. You took action. You developed this awesome platform and this way of reaching your people, reaching your tribe, and being of best service. You adapted to everything that is. Do you see what I mean? It's like you become somebody new.
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful gift. We all have become somebody new. And that's the beauty of working through these steps, is now you say, you just up-leveled. You're somebody new. And that's actually why I said to you, don't say lowering the bar. I don't believe you're lowering anything.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that, because obviously, there's 100 things we could focus on during this challenging time. And really it's a matter where your primary focus is, because we'll go back and forth. But, for my platform in particular, to me, this has almost been a miraculous time. And, just to kind of give you a snapshot of, so Well World TV was really, it's a platform that's helping people up level and share their message via video. But I was still traveling down that very traditional, hire a videographer. You have to go into a studio, and it was still a little bit cumbersome, not quite as if you're trying to be on a major network.
Right.
But still, it took some time, energy, logistics, and you had to physically be somewhere with a camera crew. So when all of this hit, that's not possible.
No.
And so what I started to see happen is all these conversations I've been having for a year about, hey, let's work together. Let's get some video going. I'll help you arrange your production, et cetera, et cetera. All these people just started going live, just like we are right now.
Right.
So it's almost as if the new phase of Well World TV is being forced to be developed because of this. And to me, there's some really brilliant moments because now all of a sudden I have 6 brand new hosts who are doing live shows on Facebook, and YouTube was never a focus for me. Now I'm diving into YouTube. I've just drafted the curriculum for a 4-week how to be a video star academy, which is going to help people, from A to Z learn how to do this. And I don't think I would have been in that space yet. I mean, maybe I would have gotten there eventually, but this forced me into that space, and I feel like it's the right space for me to be in.
Totally.
So for me, it's like, I mean, I'm not thankful that a pandemic has hit, but I'm thankful that I'm allowed this opportunity to look at what I'm developing differently. And I think how this would apply to people that are listening is whether it's your family or your relationship or your career or how you connect or your community, you can use this moment to recreate almost like new paths that can sustain you in the future, even as everything else kind of comes back on board.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's brilliantly said. And see how that you weave that. It's like I agree with you. I'm not going to say the pandemic is good, but there is so much good that we are creating and seeing and being exposed to that I don't think this is never going to change. It's like we opens up to something wonderful, new, and it's creating so many different opportunities to get for you, because it's almost like you just mushroomed into something really big, fast. Because you're reaching with all these different hosts and the content. Because what's really beautiful is you just exemplified what step number 5 is perfectly. Because step number 5 is aspire. Because now that you've adapted, you stand. It's like creating that level ground. Now I'm standing here instead of down here. What's next? What's the next grandest version of my creation? And so to your point, you said you're creating this new content and you're creating teaching and lessons on YouTube. To me, that is about aspiring, because that is what thriving is. Thriving is feeling like waking up in the morning and like, oh my God, what do I get to do today? What glorious, juicy, wonderful things are going to show up today?
Yeah. Which segues into, the next part of the conversation, which is really that sense of having a higher purpose or feeling like, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on, helping viewers move towards that path, because I believe we all have a sense of purpose and why we're here, and where we all have different areas of brilliance, but a lot of us struggle with really resting into that brilliance and being able to thrive there, support ourselves, support our families, do all those things, and I'm like the living embodiment of that, because I am a serial entrepreneur. I have this big vision of what I'm going to do, and I'm going for it. It's like when you're clear on your purpose, it's not easy to quit. Like I've tried to quit and then something will happen, something will come back, and then there I am again, like a dog seeing a bone in the future or something. What are your thoughts on, how getting unstuck really can help somebody move towards their purpose and being able to just live in it in whatever capacity works?
Right. So number 1 piece is, like you just said, everyone has a purpose. Everyone has a purpose, and they also have a unique gift that is only theirs. When we are feeling stuck, it's almost like stuck. If we could start seeing the times that we're stuck as being the incubation period, it's the time that we need to sit there, because this is all, if we can start to get into the idea that everything is happening in exactly the right way, because we created it. We
Right.
create what's going on for us. Even the places where we feel stuck. So if we can let go of the head conversation that says, well, that Debra, you can tell she's in her life purpose because she's so good at what she does and she lights up with it. And like you said, that anytime you've tried to quit, you get right back to it.
Because I have.
But the thing is, because I think it's really important to not confuse life purpose with your career or your job. I see that too many times where people have said that to me. It's like, well, my life purpose is being a doctor or being a teacher or being, maybe those are components. But you see, if you get clear, because when we get clear on what lights us up, what's the thing that you could do all day long and think to yourself, I could do this without getting paid for it? So the example that I've always given to speak to this is, if you get to the point where you realize that your life purpose is to make people happy or make people smile or make people feel good. Now, does it matter what you do?
You could be on a walk.
You could go and be a Walmart greeter. You could be a cashier at a grocery store. It doesn't matter what you do. And that's why I'm saying is that it's really important to get clear on what's your purpose. So my purpose is to teach people spiritual responsibility. Now, it doesn't matter what I do. But when I look at everything that I have done up to now, I can tell you all the times where I've been completely in alignment with responsibility and completely off of it. Right? So this is the way to get clear on it is to keep watching where you give meaning. And journaling is a really good way of doing this. And then doing inner dialogue, coming through my 5-step formula is a brilliant way of getting clear on that too, because oftentimes when you hit that aspiring step, it's like the light goes on and you go, oh, this is what I'm called to do. This is what I love doing. I love teaching people this, or I love sharing this part of me, right? Does that make sense, Debra?
Yeah, and I think I like to call them lightning bolt moments. Like they're just like in any of us, regardless of where we're at or who's watching the show, you can reflect back over your past and remember very significant moments that awakened your awareness to something more, changed your course. You made a big decision. I think we all have those moments. Like I can remember very specific ones that had all different arenas. I left a marriage during a lightning bolt moment. I transitioned careers. I started down a path of thinking I'm supposed to do a TV show. I don't know why, but
right.
So I think in hindsight, those were all guided by a theme of what I feel like my purpose is. And, we're all offered those opportunities to see them.
Absolutely. And so in how you just shared that, it's perfect, because this is the thing, is that rather than feel like you have to work out what is your purpose in your head, it's to let go and navigate. It's about navigating and saying yes to what feels right in that moment and no to what feels right in that moment. And in that way, at some point, you will get to the point of saying, well, there it is.
All right.
And you'll be able to look at the past and say, yeah, there's the theme.
All right.
Because you couldn't see the theme did not mean you weren't following your life purpose.
Mm.
Sometimes you just feel it's like a under the surface pool that makes you say yes to certain things and no to other things. I can remember, like I this has happened to me so many times where, in fact, I can remember looking at a place where I have an office in the city, and I realized that it was 10 years prior that I had looked at that building and said, wouldn't it be nice to have an office in there? And it was just a random part,
Mhm.
but it was in alignment. So at that point that I said that, I was a financial controller. I was in the corporate
Mm.
world. I ran other people's businesses. I have a corporate background. That's where I came from.
Mhm.
So when I said that, the building that I meant was a building full of holistic practitioners.
Mm.
So right there, you can hear that that was my purpose calling. It was there all the way through.
Right.
But this is why I'm saying is that sometimes when we play different roles, or we feel stuck, or we feel like we're giving our power to something or someone else, it's just getting to know us. It's getting to get to the point of, how do I feel about myself here?
Mm.
And sometimes we have to play that out long enough to then say, this is just not working for me now, right? Because we're always becoming.
Mhm.
So for some people, it can take, a couple of weeks. Some people it's a couple of years, a couple of months. There is no timeline on this. It's about us following the directives that come from our higher self, really, because
Yes.
that's where it's coming from. That's where your lightning bolt moments come from. It's like an opening of, here's a wee download for you. Are
Mhm.
you listening?
And I've actually felt that I have made decisions that maybe weren't in alignment to what my higher self thought I was supposed to be doing, and something would happen so fast that I would like course, jump over and course correct because it's almost as if something felt I made a wrong decision, because we all have free will. We have free will. We'll weigh into our fears and our insecurities and whatever else feeds our decision making ability. And there have definitely been moments where I have made a decision and within a short period of time, it is like, nope, I don't think so. And it completely shifted. So, and I think that just comes from, some people, it probably happens to people all the time, but I stay uber conscious and aware of those moments, and how they've impacted my life. But we are actually running out of time here, Moira, but I want to thank you so much for coming in and sharing your brilliance with us and your gifts. And also, I want to let people know that they can connect with you personally. So just share with everybody how you work with clients. And I know you have an inner peace kit. So if people go to wellnesswithmoira.com, they'll be able to access that. What is that exactly? And how do you work with clients?
So the Inner Peace Kit is an ebook and some guided meditations. It's really about helping people feel into that inner calmness, inner peace, because all of the things that we've talked about today, about getting unstuck, about finding your life purpose, about going into flow, letting go what's not serving you, all of it starts with finding that sense of peace within you.
Mm.
All wellness, I believe, starts with inner peace.
Mm.
So there's a link on that website, Wellness with Moira, where you can go and download that. And how I work with people, you can actually check out my services. I offer a number of different services, coaching programs, hypnotherapy, meditation, and I work one-on-one through Zoom. That's the beauty of doing the internet, is that I have an international client base, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. When you have such a soothing, calm personality, I think people would want to connect with you, especially if they're feeling a little frenetic and anxious. You have that energy that just, I bet, kind of brings people a bit more peace, regardless of what your conversation topic is.
Absolutely. That's always been the feedback, that people feel better about themselves after sitting and just speaking. So I do tarot card readings. I do, like I said, coaching programs. And then the other part, and I'd encourage people to go check me out on Facebook too, because this is my letting go guidance system. It's a
Okay.
deck of cards that I've developed throughout this whole exploration and setting up of that formula that I shared with you today. So all about letting go to find the flow, to thrive and be the best you can possibly be.
Yes, perfect. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in for this episode of Well World, and I want to encourage you to find Well World TV on social channels. I tried to create consistency, so regardless of where you're at, it's at Well World TV. Sometimes there's a space, sometimes there isn't. And of course, if you want to connect with me personally and you're ready to share your message in a bigger way, please reach out to me directly. I will respond. It's Debra K at Well World TV. So thank you, Moira, so much for joining us today. And we will see you guys soon.
Bye.